right now on The Rob Dibble Show.
Sponsored by my buddies over at Tire Depot. That's right. They are absolutely amazing. Go see Tony and his crew over there just off Route 6 in Bristol. They got Michelin. They got BF Goodrich. They've got Cooper Tires. That's right. They're the Cooper Tire headquarters. You already knew that. But go local and support local, and you won't regret it because Tony's been doing it the right way for couple of decades, and like I've said many times, you get a flat tire, your car's out of alignment, things like that, they're going to make sure you're riding safe all the time. Tire Depot. Stefon Diggs decided, I'm not going to sit out the OTAs. I'll come back. He looked fantastic on TV, the highlights that I've seen. So Stefon Diggs back with the Bills. So your 24-hour news cycle, red alert, you can shut that down because he's not going AWOL.
Yeah, I mean, Sean McDermott.
Calm down.
Yeah, Sean McDermott went from saying, okay, I'm very concerned, less than 24 hours later, he said, resolved. Everything's been resolved. Do you believe that?
I believe that if you put in a phone call from management and said, we're going to negotiate this quietly, and Diggs is a smart business person, let's not do this publicly. I think the Pagulas are great business people. They're breaking ground on a new stadium. You want to be a part of that. You don't want to screw all that up. So listen, dude, we got a lot of things in the fire. We're juggling. We got a lot of plates in the air right now. We understand you want to, renegotiate a $96 million deal that we signed last year. We're good with that. But get your ass into camp.
So you think it's money, not?
I think it's money.
I need more attention when I'm on the field.
No.
I need the ball more.
No. He's a Pro Bowler because of Josh Allen and the offensive scheme that he's in. He's going to get plenty of ball, but a lot of these guys know I have a very limited shelf life in football, and if I could make 150 over 96 million over the course of the contract, I'd much rather be that guy. And he should be paid. I don't have the numbers in front of me, but I don't know what the top dollars are for the top 5 wide receivers in football. But if he's not in that top 5, I would be renegotiating it as well.
Let's see. Here we go. Tyreek Hill, $30 million a year. Devontae Adams, $28. DeAndre Hopkins, before being released, was at $27. Cooper Kupp, $26. And then A.J. Brown is $25. So that puts Stefon Diggs tied for 6th with DK Metcalf coming into this year. So he's $6 million off the top of Tyreek Hill.
All right, but I'm going to forget the money for a second. So
Sure.
This goes back to the 80s when I was in the minor leagues and started following major league contracts. Ricky Henderson, who he actually ended up with the same agent, Beverly Hills Sports Council, and Dennis Gilbert, he had a contract that he had to stay in the top 3 highest paid players in the American League, no matter what. I think it was Kirby Puckett signed a huge deal. And back then I meant huge would be like, 5 years, $15 million. But back then that was a huge deal, and Ricky was making probably 2.7. Ricky wanted to be in the top 3. That's his contract. I fast forward 34 years or whatever to today. These guys still want to be in the top 5. They still want to walk in the locker room with a badge of honor that I am one of the top 5 highest paid players in the league, and they know their value. They are way smarter business people than back when Ricky just knew that that's what was in his contract. And these young men now, young women, they know the branding, the licensing, all of this stuff you're making off of me, I should be paid X amount of dollars. So they can walk in there with the agent and go, yeah, you can either pay me or trade me, and I could be a real pain in your butt until you get that done. And I think the Bills love him enough to say, all right, we'll probably renegotiate this and make you one of the top 5 wide receivers. But if somebody in the next couple of years, the next 2-3 years, you get a couple more contracts that are better than you, we're not doing this a third time.
Yeah, right. Well, I mean, that's if Stefon Diggs was really the shrewd businessman, he would say, I want to be a top 3 wide receiver, and he'd find 3 other guys to negotiate that into their deals, and then there'd be 4 guys that were constantly one-upping each other into the $40-50 million range. Yeah, I mean, the names that we give out there with, Obviously, DeAndre Hopkins being released. He's out on the market now trying to find his maybe one-year deal.
Just trying to find work.
Yeah.
Sucks.
So it's Hill, Adams, Cooper Kupp, A.J. Brown. I'll make the argument that Stefon Diggs deserves to be paid more than A.J. Brown. But if you're talking Stefon Diggs is in that group of 4 or 5, that feels right. There isn't an outlier where you look at that and say, oh, yeah, Stefon Diggs is definitely, financially it feels like they're all in that same neighborhood. And I know I'm not the athlete. I'm not the former guy that, $24 million for a season sounds pretty good to me. I don't see the difference between $24 million and pissing off a whole bunch of people to get to $29 million. That just isn't. That doesn't feel like the cost benefit of shaking up a locker room that you're fighting for a Super Bowl. That the cost benefit there just it's not there in my mind. But obviously it's worthwhile for Diggs.
Oh yeah, and you're right. I mean, looking at Justin Jefferson, Tyreek Hill, Devontae Adams, A.J. Brown, Stefon Diggs, those are the top 5 receivers statistically last year.
Mm-hmm.
He was third or tied for second with touchdowns. No, third, 12 for Kelsey. 11 for Brown and Diggs, like you said, and 14 for Devontae Adams, who's out there right now. When you see some of these other players, and who's the best, who's the highest paid, this is as much ego as it is business. And like I said, Ricky, it was ego more than business. He was not a savvy business guy. Ricky's legendary for having $1 million signing bonus check hanging on his wall for 6 months until accounting called and said, you need to cash that or we'll write you a new one. You cash that one, we'll write you one that you can frame, you knucklehead. So, yeah, I mean, but I'll go back to what I said earlier. These guys today are very savvy. And if they're not, their agents better be. And their agents are saying, listen, you're not going to get another probably $96 million deal, 105, 110, $150 million deal. So we better do it. They do it in basketball all the time now. They do it in football all the time.
Yeah.
Do it in baseball where you're renegotiating things. You have now baseball is the worst because they give you the opt-out. They're giving you the stupid option after 3 years to renegotiate for more money.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's stupid, but I'm not in the game anymore, and I'm not an agent. I'm certainly not an owner. You're kind of stabbing yourself in the throat with some of these deals, where a guy, I already gave you $180 million. Now I'm going to give you $280 million because you lived up to your contract.
Yeah, right.
I think it's stupid.
Right, we're paying you for past performance instead of future performance. And, Stefon Diggs, he's coming off a year in which maybe he does deserve to be paid just a little bit more. But, again, Bills, Super Bowl, that's the goal.
That should be the whole team's goal.
It should be the goal. I mean, Stefon Diggs, if you told him when he was drafted out of Maryland, hey, you're going to be making $24 million a year, one day, sign up for that and then go get your ring. And right now, he's putting a little wrench in that. But back in camp, so all is well, right?
When Tom Brady was renegotiating and fixing his contracts like 4 times, he didn't know he was going to play 20 years. He just wanted to win as much as he could when he was playing.
He negotiated down.
Exactly, to get better players around him. We'll be right back.